it's time to go through the headlines with the lovely Gyles Brandreth and Baroness Sayeeda Warsi. Hello. I didn't know she was a baroness.
Oh, yeah. Well, she wears it very lightly.
How long has this been for? Is it recent?
Coming up to 20 years. It's not breaking news.
Hold the front page, everyone.
Alison on the cutting edge as ever.
Finger on the pulse.
Yeah. Maybe it's just I don't come across as a lady.
Literally almost as long as we've been working.
And do you know when you go on, like, flights and stuff, will you put baroness in on the flight thingy?
No. I try not to, but I mean, if it's on the ticket and they pick it up, that's fine, but it's not something I advertise.
Oh, I'm not being funny.
I don't want to be the highest risk person on that flight just in case it goes wrong, do I?
Do you know what? I would milk it to death, I would. If I was a baronet, I'd be... Literally, you'd be saying, all right, Baroness Alison.
Well, I'd have to say it whenever you turned up.
Literally every day.
You would be such a good baroness. You would shake up the House of Lords. It's exactly what we need.
It's only a matter of time. We can nominate you.
Oh.
We could nominate you.
Nominate away.
We'll nominate
Oh,
you.
take it up, all right. Now, Gyles, we need to be celebrating a birthday today. Who is it?
The 22nd of July is always an important date in my calendar. I sent out a lot of birthday cards. The Prime Minister of Jamaica. It's his birthday today. Andrew Holness always sent him a card. My friend Bonnie Langford, the most amazing dancer, singer that I know, always sent her a card. There's an actor you'll remember, Terence Stamp, beautiful blue eyes, great film star. I sent him a birthday card. But this is the birthday of our future king, Prince George. 12 years old today. So happy birthday to Prince George.
Look how handsome he is.
He's a handsome lad. And a good lad. And what a strange life. Because he's been on duty, first royal tour, I think, New Zealand, Australia, in 2014. And here he is in public. But wears it with a light touch. Anyway, good luck to him.
Time does fly, though, doesn't it? 12 years already.
Yeah.
Feels like yesterday.
You are right, though. I mean, that's an important point about the light touch, because they seem to be, like he said, I want to be a royal with a soft eye, doesn't he, I think? And I think, you know, you don't need to be putting all that on a 12-year-old kid.
But I've been lucky enough to see him and his siblings with grandparents, with the King and the Queen, and more normal people you could not get. With them ragging the King is a fun thing to see. So I think they seem to be extremely normal.
Good.
Do you reckon he has royal duties now?
Well, yes, he has. He has performed various royal duties in the sense of he went to, was it during the V-Day celebrations? Yeah. We saw him actually getting to know some of the old sailors, soldiers, airmen, and chatting to them and learning a lot and actually learning how to make conversation with people.
But as someone who's written books about this and there's sort of a historian about it, you must be interesting to see your take on how that role has evolved, you know.
And I think
how he's been brought up is very different to how Prince Charles has been brought up. Totally
different. I think Prince William, the Prince of Wales, and Catherine, so determined to be as normal as possible, still spending a lot of time with her parents, trying to make life as real as it can be. It's quite challenging, but I think they seem to have got the balance about right.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Speech yesterday, Reform leader Nigel Farage said bobbies on the beach should be big, strapping male officers. Oh, God. And that Reform would insist on higher and physically tougher standard of police officers on our streets if the party entered government. Sayeeda, let's start with you.
Listen, I'm sure that Alison and I can vouch for the fact that there are moments when a big strapping male dressed as a police officer is exactly what you order, but actually not as bobbies on the beat, because ultimately...
Especially on birthdays.
On birthdays, maybe. But as bobbies on the beat, we are a country where the very first principle of policing in this country is that we police by consent, which basically means that we don't intimidate the public into being policed. We work with them. So what you need from police officers are officers who understand their communities, are connected, are emotionally intelligent, understand how to handle sometimes very difficult situations. And I think for Reform to be coming out and saying we want big strapping males, in fact, they went further, and I think one of their spokespeople said, Sarah, who is their newly elected Member of Parliament, said she never feels comfortable actually seeing two female officers together. I'd rather see a big strapping male police officer with a female.
I think I'm just relieved when I see it. A police officer, I don't care whether it's female or male. Like, I'm happy. As long as they're there in the situation, I'm happy to see them there. Do you know what I mean?
have to say...
Undermining, but the undermining of female police officers in that statement, where women have tried for so long and so hard to be accepted equally in the workplace as they are now, including, for example, in our armed forces, where they serve on the front line, to be now suggesting that this is all about physical presence and strength. I'm sorry, I think that's a backward step.
I think it's a backward step as well. And I know people like my wife who actually find it quite reassuring to see a female police officer on the beat. You just want the best people. I have a family member, police officer, who is young, slim, slight, small, not as tall as they used to be, not beefy, but his ability as a person to actually have authority and calmly and quietly to deal with situations is remarkable. So you just need the right people doing the job.
We ask quite a lot of them when you think about it, don't you? Just like, you know, because you do want some sort of like standard of physical fitness. You want them to be able to chase the bad guy. I know that sounds like cliched.
Yeah.
But you want them to be kind of sensitive, emotionally intelligent, culturally sensitive, you know, to use discretion. It's quite a lot, isn't it, when you think about, like, what a vast and wide society we are.
Completely. And if we saw what's happened over the last few years and the protests we saw from women because of what happened in the Met Police and women feeling under threat and from male police officers, I'm sorry, this is not about gender
highlights
anymore.
how important it is.
Exactly. And it also says, in the end, of course we want criminals to be, you know, concerned when they have police officers around and they need to sense that authority. But overwhelmingly in this country, we are not criminals. We are ordinary members of the public who want to feel like the police are with us, they are part of us, they are part of the communities in which we live. And people should feel, as Gyles said, people should feel comfortable being able to walk up to a police officer, ask them for all sorts of things and support, not be intimidated by them.
I think they're so right as well. I think, you know, this is just anecdotally, but I think if you speak to most people, they would say, I want that police officer to be approachable and be part of my community.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this is, unfortunately, another one of those really great headline-grabbing statements that can be made, reform knowing that they don't really have to deliver it, but it kind of whips everybody up for a while.
Well, quick question, as both of you have been involved in politics. Do you think that's obviously just kind of short-term gain, right? It's a headline. But do you think that will end up kind of, you know, as we sort of get closer to an election, do you think those kind of statements get found out a little bit more?
I think this particular one will certainly unravel quite quickly because, A, it's insulting to a lot of excellent police officers out there, implying that if you are big burly. Also, it won't work. It's not realistic. Yeah. Are you going to get rid of people? Are you going to just employ people on their burliness? I mean, it's completely... It's actually just a...
And also reform need to appeal to women. I mean, I was reading on the weekend that that's kind of the most of their supporters are by and large men, so they need to.
And older men.
Do it.
And older men are most of their supporters. But what's interesting here is, look, Reform won elections at the last local election, including mayoral elections. And in the very areas where Reform have won, they are objecting to prisons being built, yet Nigel Farage is announcing prisons being built all over the place to try and house all these extra criminals that he's now going to lock up for longer. So, you know, there's a big mismatch between what they say and what they do. And I think that is what will be found out in the run-up to the next election, because it's very easy for politicians to make these grand statements. It's very hard, as I know and as you know from people who've served there, to actually deliver.
Yeah, and plus, don't ever underestimate some of these female officers. They are very, very strong and very good at their job. OK, let's move on to the next start. This is all about retirement, the next story. Fears are now mounting that the state pension age could rise faster as the government launches a formal review. What could this mean for workers at the moment? What is it? It's 60. Is it 66 at the moment, the current pension age?
I think it is. I'm confused about this. Is it also equal now? What happens to the state? For people like me, who are self-employed, I feel, and have interesting work, I don't mind going on working. Yeah. But there are people who don't have interesting jobs, who have paid into a pension for many years, paid their taxes, and who want their proper pension and want it safeguarded. I'm a bit confused as to what the setup is now. You probably... Baroness,
look, there is a two-tier system already. If you have a private pension, then you can take that at 55. Yeah. And so those people that have paid into a pension and are lucky enough to have a private pension can retire at 55. Other people who don't have to wait for the state system to kick in, and that is 66, but there is talk that that will be increased over a number of years. And what the government has now announced is what it announces every so often, which is this 6-year review of what the age limit should be. The bit that concerns me here is the fact that young people who are currently facing a cost of living crisis, young people who are finding it increasingly difficult to get on the housing ladder, are increasingly using a higher percentage of their income on housing costs, even when they're renting. Yeah. The last thing on their mind when they're in their 20s and 30s is to start thinking about saving for the future. And what worries me is that this is a ticking time bomb, because when these people finally retire, people in their 20s and 30s, when they finally come to retire, they're also then going to get get the triple whammy of then not having a great pension at the end of it. And I think the government has to do some serious thinking about this. They made some changes, by the way, at the last budget, which Martin will be much more familiar with, which I don't think worked well. I think, in a way, they punished people who had decided to put money away for the future in private pensions and were planning, potentially, for their kids to have pensions. And so I do think that the government has to have a much more holistic approach, not just think about those people and absolutely support those people who will be on the state system, but also incentivise those that may not have to rely upon the state system in years to come. Because if you don't have to rely upon the state system, that, again, should be something that we should be supporting.
This is almost, this should almost be like cross-party, you know what I mean? It's that bigger issue. Martin, let's get your take.
I think there's a couple of confusions going on here. There is a difference between retiring and taking your pension. They are not the same thing. Taking your pension is a financial thing. So, first of all, private pension, Sayeeda's quite right. You can take your private pension at 55. That'll be rising to 57 in a couple of years' time. But taking your private pension doesn't mean you have to retire, and most people can't afford to take it at 55 and shouldn't take it at 55. The current state pension age is 66. For both men and women, it's the same now, Gyles. It's been equalised. That will be rising to 67 between 2026 and 2028, and it's thought it will go to 68 by roughly the middle of the century. What the government is doing every 6 years under the 2014 Pension Act, it has to review the state pension age. It's doing that as it's legally required to. It is suspected that they will bring forward the rise to 68 earlier than, say, 2050 to maybe 2040. So that will affect people who are in, their 30s and 40s now. I agree with Sayeeda that my biggest problem is people, you also really need to have, if you possibly can, some private pension income. Now, perhaps the greatest policy intervention we've seen in the last 20 years is auto-enrolment of pensions, which means if you're an employee and you're working and you earn over £10,000 and you're aged between 22 and 66, then you will automatically be contributing to a pension, as will your employer. It has to match. You put in 5%, it puts 3% in, so you get more, and we don't talk about that enough. And that means many more people have saved to their pension. I think we should now start that at 18, not at 22. I think it's important, though, if you are 18 and you earn over £6,000, you can force them to contribute to your pension, even though they won't automatically. The big problem, though, Gyles mentioned it earlier, self-employed people. Very few self-employed people are contributing to a pension. We make it far too difficult for them to do so. It's far too complex and confusing, whereas employees have it done automatically for them through the workplace, and we're going to, in future, going to have a pension dashboard where you can see all your pensions at once. Self-employed people does not have enough thought to it, and that is where the real hole is going to come in the future, and that needs addressing in the next few years.
How do you plug that hole?
Well, you plug that hole by, first of all, better, simpler and easier pensions, better education, better communication. We need to think of some form of nudging. Nudging is the way policy works. Think of auto-enrolment. What they did, it was clever. They didn't say everyone has to put money in a pension. They said the default will be you're putting money in a pension.
Yeah.
So, and you can opt out if you choose to. And most people don't do anything. So if you set the default to the not doing anything as you're contributing, it worked. We need to find a way to do that for the self-employed as well, I would think.
Thank you.
Maureen Lickman says she's never going to stop working.
I hope not. She
worked with Gyles.
She's only in her 80th year.
Never.
She is fabulous.
But that's your point, though, Gyles. If you get something out of work, your age is irrelevant.
But also, there's a point for the state, is that people are living longer. I went to a funeral yesterday of a lovely friend of mine, a great actor. And most of the people there... he's a lovely, a wonderful human being. And, I love him. Yeah. That's by the by. The point is, everyone there was in their 80s and some in their 90s. And very vigorous, most of the people there. So, we were there saying goodbye to our friend Frank, but we were also there thinking, we're still going. Yeah. And the point is, 20 years ago, there wouldn't have been that many people in their 80s and 90s. So everybody's living longer.
And Martin's right, the retirement and pensions, two completely separate things. I think the reason why we need to get pensions right is because we need to be able to give people, those that want to take it, the option to be able to stop working. And I think that's the kind of thing that we need to get right. And then if after that people keep working, as, my dad did, he retired 2 years ago, 83, we practically had to force him to retire in the end because we felt it was time for him to have a different kind of style of life.
Also, he's earned that pension as well. He's been working really, really hard. Why shouldn't people take their pension? They should take it.
Yeah. And carry on working if that's what you want to do.
More from you two later. Thank you so much. Competition.
Gyles and Sayeeda have stayed with us to go through more of today's top stories. We are kicking off with the fact that Martin Lewis, I didn't know about this. Martin, you are adding acting to your resume, but the thing is, I know you're a good actor. You're amazing.
Yeah, I appeared in... I didn't know where you were going then. I appeared in Mandy the sitcom. I had a little cameo role last night, which was quite fun. I mean, I was playing myself, a sort of heightened version of myself. The fun thing was, when the script first arrived, though, it was all about consumer rights, and they had it all wrong. I mean, I was like, and they would say, because it was about returning an item and that you don't need a receipt and you could always return. And I'm like, well, you can't legally always return items bought in store. You have no legal rights at all unless it's faulty. So they had to rewrite it because I was like, I can't say the correct...
Script advisor and actor. Let's take a look.
He's not saying anything you don't want to say.
That's £1,320.
That's a lot. What if I want to bring something back?
No refunds, I'm afraid.
What, not even if a button comes off?
No refunds, that's our policy.
Whoa. Hold your horses there a moment. Under the Consumer Rights Act 2015, if an item is faulty and it's returned within 30 days with valid proof of purchase, you legally have to give a full refund.
I see. Well, can I take an email address for the receipt?
Just give me a paper receipt, you dirty wet wipe.
Yeah, just give her a paper receipt, you dirty wet wipe.
Fair enough. Come on.
Come on.
So,
I totally undersold that.
But basically, you was playing yourself. Did you find it difficult?
no, I find it's what I normally do. I was a slightly nastier, but I'm not that nasty in person. But you see the button bit. Did you hear the bit about the button?
Yeah.
That was the bit I got them to add in. Otherwise, I couldn't say the line because the line would be wrong. But then, even funnier later, Sean Gibson, who many people will know from Peter Kay's car share, she had, at the end, she had these massive false, she'd had bad Botox, these eyebrows. And the best bit was we're filming that in this shop. And people kept trying to come in the shop without knowing that the shop was closed. And because she was about to walk in, she would just walk out and she'd have these eyebrows, which are literally right at the top of her forehead. And she'd say, oh, I'm so sorry, we're filming at the moment. And the faces on the people with this woman, it was very good. It was very good. It was very enjoyable. Any more cameo roles out there, I am available.
Brilliant.
Well, we're
Well
very,
done.
very impressed. We're very impressed.
Give us Mandy with the great Diane Morgan.
She's appeared in a cameo.
Stop it. What have you done, Sayeeda?
In Birmingham, actually,
Oh,
I
here we go.
appeared as Baroness Warsi in Citizen Khan, community leader.
No.
And I went out there to actually do a visit to a community centre, and it was just hilarious. I like Martin, I just played a very exaggerated
Yeah, but the
version
thing
of
is,
myself.
they script it like as yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not really like. It's good that you actually chipped in, Martin, and said,
Well,
I'm gonna do it like
I
this.
just said I'll do it naturally. To
I'll
be
do it
honest, not just
naturally.
a
Yeah,
bit.
you
The thing
to
is,
do it.
like, when you scripted yourself, it's a bit weird, isn't
But
it?
the alarming thing is that when your obituary comes to be written, it will be that you played a bit part in Mandy. Similarly, Citizen Khan star, you know.
And there was this hilarious moment recently where we went to meet my son's future in-laws and this huge family party, and this gentleman walked over to me and he went, oh, I recognise you. And I thought he'll know me from Question Time, politics, This Morning, anything. And he went, you were on Citizen Khan, weren't you? So there you go. You never know when it's
stick
going to...
with you forever.
It is.
It
It's what
happens.
makes relationships.
I appeared in the IT crowd in 2003 for about 45 seconds. People still come up to me in the street and say, oh, IT crowd.
This one's been doing a cameo of Gyles Brandreth for 40 years. It's still getting away with it.
It's doing well. It's doing well. Let's talk about Billie Eilish, because fans have been left a little bit disappointed because the singer has banned all non-vegan food and drink from the O2 Stadium during her 6-day stint there earlier this month. Now, Gyles, do you think she should be imposing this on everyone else?
Well, when people come to our house for supper, we give them vegetarian food because we are vegetarians. That's what we like to do.
Yeah.
So is
It's your home.
It
You
is-
have
well,
your rules.
Is it her home while she's there? Essentially, my feeling is yes, but. So I'm
I
conflicted
feel
about
like
it.
it's her workplace.
Well, the
It's not
thing is,
necessarily her home. is
Gyles
it?
isn't charging people £400 to come to dinner.
Do you know, I'm not.
But maybe you
I
should
should.
look into
Yes,
that.
exactly.
I guess that's the question, right? So if you're going and you're paying your money, do you want someone else's life choices, whether you agree with them or not, to be forced on?
Interesting.
What do you think?
I mean, she's hired the venue, so this is her venue for this period, and everything about it is going to be done according to her needs. So she's, you know, incredibly committed to climate change issues and concerns around overconsumption, concerns around consumption of meat. She's gone from being vegetarian to vegan. And I think what she was saying to her fans was, this is kind of me, and this is what I'd like to offer. Is it something I eat meat, so I would like to have a meat option, but you know what, if I'm going to go there, enjoy it, enjoy the concert and get a kebab on the way home.
Yeah, exactly. And does she arrive, therefore, on a bicycle when she comes to work? I wonder
You never know.
what her commitment
But the
is.
thing is, it is eco-friendly going vegan, so maybe it's a question to the arenas. Should they be more eco-friendly? Who knows?
They could be, and also if they, I think they were also concerned about things like packaging, waste, all of that stuff was part and parcel of, I think, what the offering at this
Good to
concert
have a wider
was.
conversation about it as well, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
It provokes
Do
conversation.
you know her crew only eat vegan food as well?
Yeah.
Every single person who works there will only eat
That's
vegan
a
food.
committed crew.
And actually,
Isn't it?
vegan ice creams can be delicious. Because I have to have an ice cream at any interval. I only go to a show for the interval in order to have an ice cream.
The best bit, isn't it?
It is the
Yeah,
best
it's
bit, whatever the
And I
show's
love
like.
when the ladies come down.
Oh, yes. And I'm always first. I have
And
to have a
men,
seat on the aisle.
obviously, and men do it as well.
You're getting yourself into hot water there, right?
This is a
Loads of men. All
And
the guys
men.
are always doing it. OK, a dad has got a little hot water from his daughter's school by provoking what they dubbed as a serious safeguarding issue after wearing a gorilla mask and costume to pick up a 7-year-old daughter at the school gates. Just a bit of flesh on the bones. Chris Napethine, I think it's, dressed as a gorilla costume to collect AD on the last day of term at the Hertford Vale C.V. Primary School in North Yorkshire. Sayeeda.
Yeah, so this is this story where this dad likes to play pranks on his little girl. He goes to pick her up, and one day he turned up in a gorilla outfit, one day he turned up in a kind of a horse mask, and the school have said that this is scaring some of the other children, and therefore it's a safeguarding issue, and he thinks the school has gone a little bit too far.
Maybe he should turn around and say, I am identifying as a gorilla, and then maybe they can't say anything, can they?
I think this is bigger story.
We're not going there this morning, Miss Alison.
Lots of emails will be coming in. And some of them will be correcting Dermot, because it's Addy, not Adi.
Beg your
It's
pardon.
Napthine, not Napethine. I think this is a difficult one, because obviously, one's instinct, a light touch, it's obviously meant to be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's clearly got a bit out of hand. So whatever the school feels
Do you think
is
it's the
best.
fact that they couldn't identify who the father was?
So I said this, didn't I? I said that if your parents regularly want to turn up in costume, then how do you know the costume that's turned up that day is actually the parent of the child? But hopefully the child would be able to say this.
Well,
is
you'd
not
ask the
mum or
parent to
dad.
take the mask off so we
Yeah.
could identify you. You are the
And
parent.
he's not wearing the
full
mask
group.
totally. There is a touch of neck available there.
You'd say, what do you think?
I'm with the school.
Really?
My daughter, until she was about 8 or 9, I mean, even we went to Peppa Pig World and there was Peppa Pig in wouldn't go near it. And lots of young children hate faces being covered and are petrified by it. And while his daughter might be fine with it, I'm totally unsurprised that other children were scared by it. I think many 4 to 7-year-olds would be really scared by someone in a full-face costume. And I actually think, I mean, the paper's making it to woke or stuff. I just think saying, actually, it's scaring the children is the most appropriate thing. And maybe you couldn't do it because some of the children are really scared by it and we therefore have to deal with them being scared. So
Good
I'm with
point.
the school. I don't think it's that
What
appropriate.
if he was wearing like a Superman hero outfit?
It's
Would
the
that
face.
change it?
It's the face.
Covered face.
Right, wearing a costume's fine. It's the fact that his face is covered. That was what always got my daughter and many of her friends of that age were petrified of full-face costumes.
You're right as well. It doesn't need to be put in, like, a box of whether it's woke
No,
or
it's
whether
just
it
it's
isn't
a
woke.
bit scary for
It's
children.
just a bit
to not do
scary.
it.
Martin has taken me suddenly back to 1955 and my Peter Pan party.
Yes.
My
Let's hear
father
about
dressed
it.
up as Captain Hook. Wonderful costume he
Wow.
had. And the
Villainous
frightening
moustache.
moustache and the hook and all of that. And every time he opened the door as Captain Hook, the first child burst into tears, the second child burst into tears.
Exactly.
I mean, it really did frighten the children. I was so happy because I was Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And it was really quite a traumatic
Yes.
experience.
Poor Anthony Eden next year, he was very upset. And Harold Macmillan, baby Harold Macmillan. they
David
were
Lloyd
crying.
George was one of the last to arrive. He came as Smee, you know. That's the way
So
it
the
goes.
consensus is, don't do that. Don't put your face.
Yeah.
Don't dress up.
And
I
also,
just-
was
if
it
he-
more about the dad than the child? Was it actually more fun for him than it was for the children? I'm just wondering.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I went through that Coco the Clown period
Yeah.
with our children when they were small, and after a while, my wife said, no. No, Giles,
nice.
we're doing this for you. You
Yeah.
want to be Coco the Clown.
Think
it's
of the
not
children.
amusing any of the children.
But could you come in next time like that? On here?
I've still
We, on the
got-
other hand, would love
We
it.
would
yeah.
love it.
Let's move on to this Molly-Mae story. But basically, she's been warning her fans to be wary of deepfake videos after a perfume company created an AI video of her advertising their perfume. So basically, it is a video of her advertising a perfume from way before. They've used it, and they've used it for their own brand. It's completely fake, and she's warning all her fans about this situation. Everything you're seeing there, which it does look like her, everything's fake. Completely
I had
fake.
no
It's
idea
actually very
that there's
scary.
no legislation really around this. Advertising Standards Agency has the power to challenge any misleading adverts that contain deepfake celebrity endorsements. Under the Online Safety Act, online platforms have a legal duty to prevent and take down scam adverts. Well, it says there is.
This
right?
is a scam advert.
Right,
There
exactly.
is
There is.
legal
No, they
protection.
don't. No, they don't. Sorry, I mean...
No,
They don't
let's
do
go
it.
to you, because this has happened to you. So what...
Well, I'm in more deepfake and scam ads. It's me and Elon Musk. We're 80% of all of them between the two of us, right? So I deal with this. I get 50, 60 of these every day. I campaign for change in the Online Safety Act. The Online Safety Act is now in place, but the element that covers scam ads, there's a consultation going out now. If it's in place by the middle of 2026, we will have done well. So currently, when it comes to scam adverts online, there is no real regulation. When I sued Facebook a number of years ago, I had to sue them for defamation because of scam adverts, because it was the only law that we could find to fit. They settled out of court, which have $3 million to Citizens Advice Scam Action Charity. Currently, there are no real rules preventing scam ads in this country. The Wild West, the internet, the online social media is a Wild West.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting, what I would say about this advert that have falsely used Molly-Mae, I mean, all the ones using me, they're criminals. Or any advert with me in, it's a criminal trying to get you to invest into Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin. It's just criminals stealing your money. Don't go near it. But the thing with Molly-Mae, if this is a legitimate perfume company doing it, well, I wouldn't spray their perfume, not that I would anyway, I wouldn't spray their perfume on anyway, because if you can't trust them to be legit in their ads, how can you trust the safety of their perfume? And people shouldn't touch them. But we have a terrible lacuna at the moment of regulation and laws. There is no protection for you out there. Understand that. No protection. You have to protect yourself. Be very careful. Any advert on social media, especially with a celebrity face in, the likelihood is it's a scam and you shouldn't touch it. Go and research elsewhere. Don't click the link.
Great
it's
stuff.
terrible.
The problem is with AI now, you can't tell the difference. It looks so good now. It's actually quite frightening. That's what scares me.
There's a big discussion going on about this in Parliament recently, where people were saying that going forward, material created by AI should be marked as material created by AI and not a human being, because there is a real challenge, concerns around copyright, concerns around, you know, kind of artistic content, all of that stuff, which kind of follows on from what Martin is saying. It is a whole new area of development where it is developing so quickly, and legislation is simply not.
How was that
with it.
received, Sayeeda? Do you think that, I mean, you're pushing against an open door with something like that?
Well, interestingly, in the House of Lords, this conversation has been had around copyright and artist kind of creation. And every time the government has brought the legislation to the Lords has defeated it, saying you have to have better controls. So I think there is a bit of a battle going on about this. And I think certainly in the House of Lords where I sit, there's a clear view that there has to be this distinction. And we've got to protect the creation
100%.
of artistic content, because otherwise, again, there's the option to be able to use this without.
There's a subtle nuance on that, though, if you forgive me, in that you're talking about regulating legitimate players must say that it's AI. The people that we're talking about in advertising are criminals. They're not going to do it anyway because they are trying to mislead and deliberately be duplicitous about what's going on. The same as you talk about the Advertising Standards Authority. Advertising Standards Authority regulates people who legitimately comply with the Advertising Standards Authority. Criminals, organised crime, which is what many of these scam adverts are, organised criminals go, advertising who? I mean, they don't care. They're criminals. And that's why I'm being so strong with my warning. That is going on out there daily.
Thank you, Martin.
Wow, it's sad that we have to be suspicious.
Yes.
You can't really trust anything. Makes you suspicious of everybody.
Yeah.
But you two are real, aren't you?
With every poem he's sent me, I'll tell you what, who wrote that? This is AI. Not a genius at all.
Something that's not AI is our
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.